Hi all and welcome to another Crypto Rocket video. Today we will be discussing the MultiChainStaker and specifically the Polygon launch on the MultiChainStaker. So in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about what this MultiChainStaker is, how it works, is it safe, and also the best strategy to minimize your risk when investing through the MultiChainStaker and to possibly maximize your returns as well. Now, I'm going to point out that none of this is financial advice. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes, and I am not a financial advisor. So let's start off with what is the MultiChainStaker. So a little bit of history. The MultiChainStaker first launched on the Avalanche network, and it had quite a successful launch on here. And essentially the way that the MultiChainStaker works is you put money in AVAX, for example, when it's on Avalanche, or in Matic when it's on Polygon, but you put that crypto into and you stake it here on the MultiChainStaker. Now, when you stake your AVAX, for example, it actually takes away, you lose that initial deposit, so you can't unstake it, but instead what you get is a, for example, 10% daily earnings, or or 9% daily earnings instead for 14 days, which will give you 145% ROI. So that's how it works. Now, where does this money come from? Where does this extra 45% come from? Well, it comes from people who invest in the project later on. So essentially, if you invest first, more people start coming in after you. And as long as there is a staked balance left over here, that means you will continue to be getting your returns. But if you're one of the last people and the balance is already going down on this protocol, and you invest, one AVAX, after 3 days there might be no more balance left in this project, and when there is no more balance left, the project shuts down and nobody gets any more of the earnings, which essentially means it's extremely important that you get in here first. And the Avalanche launch was already nearly 2 weeks ago, so I really wouldn't recommend staking any AVAX. Instead, the Polygon launched literally just happened the other day. It was yesterday, I believe, that it happened, or actually in the morning. So you're still very early, and it still might be a good idea to invest if you're interested in it. So let's go a little bit through the contract first. So first of all, the contract is the best place to see how much balance is actually left in Matic, and you can compare that to how much is staked, which should give you an idea of whether it's still a good idea to invest or not. So you can see there is, 1,500,000 Matic staked, and the balance is 1,100,035. So it's still really, really high. On the other hand, if you look at the Avalanche, it's got 18,000 AVAX staked, and if you look at the contract, it's only got 8,000, so it's got less than half of the balance, depending on what's in comparison to what's staked, which essentially means that the balance is starting to go down and down. And you can see here, although people are still investing, most of it are withdrawals. So you can see there are a lot of withdrawals, and if there are more people withdrawing than there are new people investing, it means that the project will soon come to an end. Which is why I wouldn't invest in AVAX. If anything, I would go into Polygon. So let's look at the audit first. So this audit was made by Hayes Crypto, and essentially it talks a little bit about whether this project is safe, whether there's a possibility of a rug or not. So the conclusion, the MultiChainStaker smart contract were found no vulnerabilities, no backdoors, and no scam scripts. This essentially means that there aren't any scripts within the code, which could mean that someone could steal all the money from the contract. It seems that that makes it relatively safe in terms of the sense that there will be no rug, or there most likely will be no rug. Now that said, there was one high issue. And the high issue is that the system is called ROI and must be considered as high risk. Users' principal deposits cannot be withdrawn. Like I mentioned, whatever you put in, if you put in, one Matic, you cannot withdraw that. Users can get dividends and referral commission. Dividends are paid from deposits of other users. So again, the project is not making money, it's only taking money from you and from users after that. And if there are more users coming in, it will keep paying you a certain fee or percentage. Okay, so taking a look a little bit at the investment plans. So I'm going to go through those in a moment, but first let's talk about this project fee. So every single time you try to take money out from the percentages that you get, so you get that 10% daily profit. If after a few days you decide to remove money from that and you say have $100 that you want to remove, the project owners will keep 15%. So you will only remove $85. So that's important to calculate that 15% fee into projecting any kind of profit that you might have. Okay, so let's go back and actually take a look at the different packages that they have over here. So let's start off with this first row. Now what you'll notice is that it has this unlocked symbol over here, and this essentially means that as soon as you have sort of the money coming in from the daily earnings, you can withdraw them whenever you want. You're not locked in, you can start withdrawing them within minutes because they will be coming in pretty much right away. So again, if you put in $100 worth of Matic and you stake it, you lose that Matic, you cannot get that back, and instead you will be getting $10.40 worth of Matic every single day for 14 days, which should give you 145% ROI. So you will end up with about $145 worth of Matic. Now remember that when you take that money out, you can only take out 85% because 15% is taken by the project owners, which means that you're actually making about 130% ROI rather than 145%. On this first savings plan. And this is a 14-day plan. The other plans last longer, 21 days or 28 days, but you get less daily earnings. So you can see for 21 days, you get slightly less percentage, and for 28 days, you get slightly less as well, 9% daily. But, if the project continues for longer than 14 days, you will keep getting an ROI from that. The next row of packages is the locked packages. This means that for the duration of these packages, so the 14 days, 21 days, and 28 days, you cannot withdraw any of your earnings until the full 14-day period, 21-day period, or 28-day period passes. Now, this is very, very risky because, as I mentioned, 14 days is quite a long time, 21 and 28 days are a really long time period, and these kinds of projects tend to have a lifespan of around 15 to 20 days. So it's really, really risky to go into one of these locked packages over here, but they are an option as well, and essentially your earnings keep compounding, which is why you will be getting, for example, on the silver, 300% ROI rather than 145% ROI with the savings. So my strategy on this and what I have been doing so far, I've invested in the Binance version of this, and what my strategy is to go for that first one, the savings package. The reason for that is I can actually make my money back in about 9 days. Most of these projects survive at least 9 days and more, which means that I then have a very limited exposure and it's not as risky. It means that I can still lose my money, but the project has to do pretty badly. Now, considering that the AVAX launch went quite well, they're already 8 or 9 days in, and I would have already gotten my money back, and there's still a lot of balance left, meaning there will still be a few days left at least. I've already gotten my money and start making a profit. So this is the savings one. If you don't want to go into it, into something too risky, then you can go for the savings one. I wouldn't really recommend the classics or the premium. I don't really understand why I should be getting less money every single day, if I'm investing it for a longer period of time, to be honest. So I never truly understood that. And I would actually recommend, instead of going for a classics or premium one, if you do believe that this project will go on for a longer period of time than 14 days, what you can do is actually each day go with the savings, and every single day that you get your 10%, reinvest that 10% and essentially manually compound it and get another savings package with the 10%. And that way, if you do that for 3, 4, maybe 5 days, you will continue to compound your interest. And then the project, you will keep getting the rewards for a longer period of time, and you will get more rewards during this initial 14-day period. So you can sort of manually compound it yourself rather than going with the classics or premium and getting less earnings. Now, for the locked packages, I would be very uncomfortable going with anything other than silver, just because these projects tend to have a very short lifespan. So I would definitely go with silver and not gold, and definitely not platinum. I know this 1000% ROI probably looks really, really great, but the project has a very, very little chance of lasting 28 days. So you're not going to be able to withdraw any money before that 28 days. So you're most likely going to lose all your money. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people will go for the silver plan, or already have gone for the silver plan. And this essentially means that on day 14, you're going to have a massive drop in the balance that I talked about where we clicked on the contract. Now, this is because so many people are suddenly on the 14th day all going to withdraw not only what they put in, but 3 times more. And when that happens, I predict that most likely on day 13, everything is going to go down to 0 and the project will be over. Now, if that happens, it's really important actually that you're one of the first people that does that before everyone else. And because the project didn't launch today, it already launched yesterday, I actually wouldn't go for this 14 days. I would find it quite risky, because I have a feeling that on the 14th day of the project, everyone would start withdrawing their money who invested on day 1, and you will still have 1 day left because you were a day later. And because of that, I believe that you could lose all of your money. So I would go grab a nice, 130% ROI on your investment in just 14 days and go for the less risky option and do the savings. But of course, that's just me and my personal opinion. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to use the link that's below this video to go visit the MultiChainStaker app. It is a referral link, and I do get a little bit of a referral for this, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could use my link if you do go and purchase any Matic and stake it on the MultiChainStaker. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to follow my channel for more similar videos like this.